guys, it's Coach Phil, and welcome to another episode of Deep in the Game. And as you can see, we have University of Regina Rams head coach, Mark Mcconkey. Mark, how you doing?
Good, thanks for having me.
Glad to have you. So tell us, man, tell us your story, man. I'm very interested in understanding, like, because in the States, it's much harder to become a university football coach. But for you, you have a background where you actually got to play, and then you kind of just, it's been your life. So take us through that road.
Yeah, to try to sum it up fairly quickly, just born and raised by two phys ed teachers, two coaches. My dad's still coaching, even though he's retired. He coached high-level junior football in Calgary. And so just growing up in that coaching household, that's something I always wanted to do that. Then when I came and played for the Rams, I was doing my education degree and coached every opportunity I could. And then again, it's all about timing. It just happens how it happens. So I was the assistant receivers coach here for a year, and then Frank Crystal retired and moved on, and then the new coach brought me in. And it's just about timing. Like if I was to graduate in 2007, I don't know if I'd be here right now. So this wasn't always the goal to coach university. I just want to coach. I believe in coaching. I believe in development of players, like holistically, not just as football. So that's a big thing for me. And then it was just timing worked out. And obviously once I got an opportunity, I made the most of it and was the offensive coordinator. And the previous head coach moved on, and it's just, I was here. So I'm kind of just like last man standing a little bit, but yeah, no, it's been great, and just making the most of your opportunity.
So I like to hear making the most of the opportunity, last man standing. Hey, you stuck through it.
Yeah, I know exactly. It's been a roller coaster, but it's been good. Yeah.
Tell us about this though. You mentioned holistically when it comes to your players. What is that to you? How do you do that?
Yeah, I mean, football is the ultimate team sport, right? And you get so many solid life lessons out of playing football. So again, we focus on, you got to develop the player, right? We want our guys to be able to go pro, play CFL. That's important. We also want to develop our guys like mentally, like they work with our mental performance coach. And then we've got a lot of great coaches on staff, experienced guys. So the head of the SWAT, Regina SWAT's our linebacker coach. Our assistant head coach used to be a CEO of a multi-million-dollar company. So we give them a lot of like leadership lessons. So before every team meeting, we got like a theme of the day or a message of the day. So all of our coaches jump in there. And even when guys leave the program, they come back. And now that I'm getting older now, I feel still young, but I'm getting there. And we got guys that are like, those lessons that I learned from the Rams program are now helping me in my marriage, in my job, in my career, whatever it may be. So that's super important for us as well.
So it's more of a family atmosphere. I like that you say that. It's more of a family atmosphere. Guys get to come back, because there's some coaches that don't. Once you're done, you're done. You don't need to come back. But having that community, that group of people where you've been here for forever now. Tell me, and it's kind of hard to ask this, man. The year before, you guys had a season where you guys made the playoffs, made a nice little run. But this past season was 1-5. Where do you feel like things went a little off the rails, and how can you get back on track?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, 22, our defense, we were solid. We had some good players. Then when you lose 5 guys to the CFL, like that's a big hole to fill. I think ultimately last year it was just, I think we just maybe had a little bit of, I don't know, we thought we were better than we maybe were, and we had some young guys come in and play in important roles, and obviously the quarterback guy went in, did well, won Rookie of the Year, but just on some key spots we didn't have the experience. So I don't want to call it a rebuild yet. I don't like that word rebuild, but it kind of was. Essentially, like, we were just young in some spots and didn't have the experience, and now this year I think we've addressed that with our recruiting class, with the older guys, and now those guys now have another year under their belt. And it goes in waves. It's always kind of ups and downs, and that's why you got to respect programs like the Alabamas, like Laval, like Montreal. They are always at the top every year. So it's a hard thing to do, especially in Canada West, but we're trying to get there and hopefully have that sustainability to stay at the top year in, year out.
Being an Alabama fan, roll damn tide. How do programs stay, like Laval and all them, stay at the top? Is it more because coaches they got a longer leash, or is it they build the right culture for you? What is that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still looking for the answer myself here, but ultimately it just comes down to like resources, right? Mm-hmm. You have the resources to build that sustainability, and ultimately, to me, college football, it's all about recruiting. If you can get good athletes, that's your key, right? So it all comes down to recruiting. So Laval, Montreal, those top, like Calgary in like 08 to 18, they had their run, like they would consistently just get the top guys. So I think a big part of it comes down to recruiting, and then obviously your coaches. How are your coaches developing? How are they progressing and evolving throughout the game, and that's something Val does a great job of. Like their guys are guest coaches in CFL camps, all those things. And but yeah, still looking for the answer. But I think ultimately it comes down to recruiting and just the resources you have and the opportunities you provide your players.
Talk about recruiting in the States. A lot of it is, I'm still learning all this, so correct me if I'm wrong. A lot of it in the States is more you win in the trenches. Is that principle still the same here, or is it go get our speedsters, get our quarterback, more offensive?
Yeah, no, it's definitely trenches, and my philosophy's really changed. We had in 2016 to 18, we had Noah Pickton, one of the best all-time U Sports quarterbacks, about 5'8". He says 5'9", but 5'8". He won the Heck right in 2016. We had great receivers there, and we were good on the O-line, but like compared to Calgary and the bigger schools, we just didn't have the guys in the trenches. And ever since seeing that, like you need to have like you have the best quarterback, but it doesn't mean you're in the Vanier Cup. You need to have O and D line. That's where you win and lose games. Not anybody, I was a receiver myself. Not to say those guys are less important, but if you have a solid defensive line, a solid offensive line, you give yourself a chance to win and control the line of scrimmage, and that's big. So we've really put a focus on O-line, D-line, and recruiting. That's always our top priority, and then we're filling in from there. But again, like I said, everyone's still important, but if you can give yourself a chance to win, you're going to do it with a good O-line and a good D-line.
And it's just got to be a strong O-line, strong D-line, man. You got to be able to move places, people. You got to be able to make holes. And when I went to your guys, the first game I saw of you guys, man, y'all can make some holes. It's amazing.
Yeah, we've had a super strong, like I said, in 2022, we had a really good D-line. We had 2 first-team All-Canadians, and they both got drafted by Winnipeg. They're both in CFL. And the other guy like could have been an All-Star too, but you can't have 3. So you go from there. Then last year, again, we just had guys that hadn't played, that hadn't started, and they were just younger and got a little bit pushed around. But now they've learned, they've grown, they've had a good off-season. Now they're ready to come back and compete. But yeah, if you can get those O-linemen, and again, I think we had some solid O-linemen this year, and we continue to develop our guys and keep recruiting solid O-linemen. That'll be a big part for us, because if you can protect the quarterback, open up those holes, that just opens up everything for you.
For anybody in the States that's trying to learn about Canadian football and Canada West, there's Canada West. I'm trying to understand. So there's Canada West. There's OUA. There's
RCQ.
RCQ. I'm trying to keep up.
Yeah.
But for you in Canada West, what's the brand of football outside of just? Is it hard hitting? Is it running the ball? Is it aerial assault? What is it?
It's constantly moving. I'd say from 2016 to 19, like we were kind of like the Pac-12, a little bit the old Pac-12, like high flying, high scoring. Like we had Noah Pickton, Mcconkey, who was in the CFL, Senegra, Buckley, who was in this. Like it was crazy. Like the average score would be like 46, 41, in the like 35 plus easily. And then so it was high flying. And then you look at the OUA, and it's like fullback, tight end, kind of pound the ball. So we use that obviously to recruit receivers and all those things. And then now it's kind of like we're kind of going to that more of that model of kind of ground and pound, control the ball, kind of that more of that SEC style, like big on big, good on good, a little bit lower scoring and more of like a power game. So it's even in the last 5-6 years, it's evolved, and it just kind of, it's like a pendulum, keeps swinging back and forth. So it's if you watch some of the 2016-17 highlights of Can West, it looks completely different than it does now, which is kind of crazy.
I watched some of the Canada West games, man. I think I saw the one where it was Calgary and another team, and then I don't understand how it works for you guys. You have to have a point spread of points, and then if you lose, then you get this amount. Either way, y'all have some crazy finishes in the games.
And that's the best part about the Can West, I'd say, compared to the other conferences. Like in the RCQ, they got Laval, they got Montreal. Like those are kind of the top 2, and the other programs are getting better. In the OUA, you kind of know who the top 3 are before the season starts. Like you're always gonna have your Western and your Laurier, and like those are that's just what it is. In Can West, like in 21, we were 1-5, and then the next year we finished 2nd place. And last year we're 1-7. Now like, hopefully it's another 2nd or 1st place. 2015, 0-8. The next year we're 1st place. Like every game is so tight, and like last year we lost a double overtime game to Manitoba. We lost to Manitoba on the last play. They scored like to go up by 7. Like it was tied. So it's you just never know. I mean, even this year, like we're going into BC, we're down to our 2 starting receivers, and we're up 21-3 on them. Like, and now they're in the Vanier Cup. Like that's what I mean. Like we still end up losing by 10, I think, that game, but like it's so close, and you just never know. And there's been lots of coaches that have coached in the OUA that have now come to the Can West, and they said they're like, this is just different. Like you never know. And I mean, Calgary beat UBC this year. They smoked them. Like that's what I mean. So, and they're in the Vanier Cup, and like Calgary was one of the worst teams in the West with
Right.
us, and like they beat the Vanier Cup finalists.
Yeah.
So that's the exciting part about Can West, and that's why I think it's one of the best football leagues. And look at the CFL draft; we put so many guys into the CFL from this conference. So it's a bloodbath out here for sure, and that's always kind of we hurt ourselves a little bit because we kind of beat each other up all season. We don't play games where we're up by 45 at halftime and we can rest our starters. It's
Right.
like you got to play all the way to the fourth all the time. So you kind of get beat up all the time, and then by the time you make it out of the West, you're a little bit beat up. But I think again, like UVS has shown well, UBC showed well last year. They're close with Montreal, but they couldn't pull it off.
So do you guys play OUA or do you guys it just stays Canada West?
So we play like you have to work your way out of the conference, so the top four. So you have like a semifinal, then a Can West final, and then from there, there's four main conferences. You will play one of the conferences.
Mm-hmm.
So last year, AUS like the Atlantic went to BC, and then this year I think we're going to the OUA. I can't remember, it's on my desk over there, but so it kind of switches up every year. There's like a bowl rotation, but you got to make it out of the West. That's the secret. So then you got to make like there's a West champion, an OUA, an RACQ, and then an Atlantic.
Oh, then a Final Four.
Then a Final Four, and then a Vanier. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and that's the tough part. Like, I wish there was like a national playoff where we could, because that'd be cool to play like Queens or Laurier or whatever. But it's always going to be US, Calgary, UBC, UVA. So we got to win the West, and then you can get us the national bowl games.
You guys beat each other up all season. There's a lot of familiarity, seeing each other so many doggone times.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do it.
And you play 3 of them 2 times, right? So it's fun.
You got an NFC West thing.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So I'm gonna end this one with I obviously got people 5 questions just for people to get to know them better. You ready? Go rapid fire. What does Coach like to do in his free time?
Parent and golf.
Okay. It makes you happy.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get into golf, but I can't. Something about here, and then you get here, and I get that Charles Barkley.
Okay. Yeah. You just gotta keep working at it. Yeah.
I just like the clothes. The clothes make
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Some creamsicle. Let's see. Next question would be favorite offense. Like, what's your goal, your bread and butter? I don't want you to get too much with it. What's your core play?
Oh man, that's a tough one. Honestly, you just I don't know. I can't give too much away, but there's so much good stuff in the States that you can steal from, and there's so many things. I'm a big like crosser, kind of like I can't say pick because the defensive guys will get mad, but like lots of those like pick route, rub routes, where you're going to be in the red zone getting man coverage. Like those are you can win on those, and you can really put the defense in a lot of conflict, and maybe happen to have a natural rub here and there from receiver to DB or DB to DB. But I love those like quick game kind of mesh rub concepts. Those are probably my favorite.
I can't stand rub routes. As a defensive guy, we were in the box as a linebacker. Unless we get pulled out there, but if you get a rub route on me, I'm probably gonna yell at you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And then you're looking for the flag, and something like to be honest, sometimes the refs don't see it because it happens so fast. And it's one guy coming from this side, one from this side, and you don't see it. Right?
Especially as a cross right across. It's like, all right,
yeah.
We're kind of stuck. We're on our own island. How DBs are on their own island. We're on our own island in the middle of the field, and everybody can see like, look at 52 over there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it's terrible. So, who were some of your coaching inspirations? Who did you look to as a young coach?
Obviously, I got to say my dad. Right, growing up in that household, I was that little kid on the sideline in the film sessions with them. That's a big thing. Mm-hmm. And then more nowadays, like obviously, like a guy like Sean McVay. Like, how do you not love a guy like that? Just the energy he brings, the brilliance, the boy wonder. He can remember every play, and then like Kyle Shanahan. I don't say this too. I know it's his public record here, but I'm an Atlanta Falcons fan, so big fan of Kyle Shanahan and just what he did with the offense there and how explosive they were. And now he's obviously doing a great job with the Niners. Still mad at him about the 28-3 Super Bowl loss. I know that's probably your next question now, but yeah, I just big fan of Kyle Shanahan and what he does, and just the young OC now taking over head coach kind of guys. That's obviously kind of emulating my style from those guys.
Let's see. I actually had a chance to finally see that offensive playbook from Atlanta.
Oh yeah,
it's obviously it's a West Coast offense.
Yeah.
It's people overcomplicate the West Coast offense so much. I had a conversation with Brandon Adams about like, dude, because their offense is very similar to the West Coast offense. If you just pay attention to what the play call says, you'll get it.
Yeah.
And you can have some explosive plays. Now, putting that zone blocking scheme, that offense, got problems.
Yeah.
Whereas with Sean McVay's is more counter, and then it's it's sexy, but it's not it's a Kyle Shanahan offense. Well, you know what Kyle Shanahan, he's going to do something with like Debo, Ayuk, Nemba with Sean. It's like, I'm just going to throw it to Cooper.
Yeah.
I just live right here.
Yeah. And that's kind of like, just listen. There's lots of podcasts that those guys go on. They do a good job. And just hearing them talk about their offense. And they're just like, that's what I love about it. They just commit to a philosophy, and it's theirs. And they're just authentic to that and what they do. And obviously we try to emulate that here a little bit. It's like, what do we do? Like, so 2016, 2017, we were a high fly. We used to throw the ball. Like, we throw the ball 50, 60 times a game. That's just what we lived in, and that's what the Rams have always been. Now we're kind of shifted a little bit to more like, okay, we got to commit to the run. Like, the teams that are making out of the West every year, they can run the ball in playoff time, and that's where we've always struggled in the past. So it's like, okay, now we have to commit to the run. So we're changing even our philosophy. So, and those guys would always keep evolving too. That's what the great coaches do. Once you think you know everything, then that's when you're old news, right? So you got to keep evolving. But that's how I respect those guys too much. But yeah, Shanahan's do some cool things there for sure.
Oh yeah, and even building just that team, strong defense. Most offensive guys, they don't really give a damn about defense. They've got some, but after you saw them in the Super Bowl, still don't know how they lost that game. But next question I would say for you is, when you talk about the culture, if you could describe the culture here at the University of Regina, is it what makes it different from everybody else? Outside of what we talked about earlier, what on the field, what is the culture for you?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we kind of coaching is stealing, so we stole the Patriots mantra of kind of do your job. Just do what you're supposed to do on every play, right? It takes 12 guys in Canada, 11 in the States, and if every 12 of those guys is doing their job, doing what they're supposed to be doing on every given play, then we'll be just fine. And we kind of use that. We use that on and off the field. That's a big thing. You can't control other players. So if you're the boundary wide on one side, you can't control what that slot back does. Like, you guys are two different entities. Like, don't worry about him. Worry about you. You do your job, and everyone worries about their own self. That's when we get rolling as an offense. So that's a big part of what we do. And at the end of the day, we want to play like fast, physical, and smart. Those are like our main three things. And just focus on us. Don't worry. We used to get too worried about the other defense or the offense, what they're doing. It's like, let's just do what we do well. So we do these plays well. We run this inside zone, outside zone, RPO, whatever. Let's focus on that. And then let them worry about us. So again, kind of shifted our philosophy the last few years on field.
I like that. I like the adjustment. I like that we just stick to what we do and what we know. We'll be perfectly fine. I like that you don't overcomplicate things in your program.
We try not to. Our players might say something different on the offense, but we're I think we just try to just focus on us. Don't worry about too much about everything else.
And my last question will be for you: if you're a young coach, if you can give a message to any young coach that wants to come up here, what's the process for them to get to where you are?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like a little bit of luck for sure, but ultimately it's just hard work, dedication, and just coach. Just get in there, and wherever you're at, don't just be looking for that next job. I mean, you listen to all the NFL guys. That's what they say. That's their advice too. It's like, be where your feet are. Be the best assistant coach you are right now, and make the job the easiest for the head coach. Right? That's kind of the way I always did it when I was the OC. I tried to make my head coach's job the easiest it could be by doing so many extra steps, so many different things. So just be the best coach you can be right now, and then once the season's over, obviously you can. But don't just be continuing looking to move. Just be the best coach you can. Learn. You can always keep learning nowadays with YouTube and Twitter or X, whatever it is, and all those things. Like, you can learn and watch football all day and literally learn so many good things. And it's a little bit harder, not that I'm that old, but like, I don't know how coaches did it back in the 80s and 90s, and there's so many resources out there, so many clinics. So just keep learning, keep networking, and just work hard, and good things happen if people work hard.
That's what I want to do. I just want to keep learning. And for all of the young coaches out there, you heard what the man said. Dedicate yourself, do your job, everything will work out yourself. And I like that you said it's not just find somewhere. You just be the best assistant coach and grow.
If you're good, you'll get noticed. Yeah.
A lot of guys want to just get to the top, and then I've been there. You get to the top, you're like, what do I do now? I don't know. There's so many little details in coaching. Like in the States, there's so much you have to learn. But now that I'm learning the Canadian game, it's not different.
Yeah.
So I appreciate this. Thank you so much, Coach.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And the best of this season.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem. And that's been another episode of Deep in the Game. You might be deep in this game, but you got the rules missing. Y'all take care.
I'm gonna tell you the truth.
The man's in the house.
So crazy.
The man's in the house.
I'm gonna tell you the truth.
The man's in in the house.
So crazy.
Man's in the house.